think of when you think of the Western? Maybe you think of cowboys, of people traveling through vast landscapes to make a new life for themselves. Maybe you think about the rock formations, the rivers, the plains, the animals now extinct, like the buffalo. Maybe you think about racism too, and about the way that indigenous people have been treated in the Western, or how people traditionally marginalized have fared in them generally. I'm really interested in looking at Westerns post 2000, what I like to think of as new Westerns, and to think through whether these Westerns can do something new with the genre, or whether there are certain strictures which won't allow them to move out of that.
Your savage heart cannot be conventionally civilized.
Maybe you live in a different America than we.
Through the Western, ideas of America and the United States have been frequently and repeatedly explored and theorized. As Nicholas Witchy outlines, the life of the West is sometimes regarded with nostalgia. Witchy describes a bumper sticker which asks, "Where are you, John Wayne? We need you," in all caps. The Western is often posed as a space that supposedly offers greater freedom, but also more risks of experiencing extreme and brutal violence, whereas today's American society is a result of the civilizing project that created the United States. The values foregrounded are often those of individualism, exceptionalism, grit, tenacity, the call to civilize, white settlers' right to the land, and perhaps disturbingly, violence posed as benevolent, doing good, or beneficent, meaning well, where the protagonist resorts to extreme violence when threatened by uncontrollable events.
It's gonna be a bloody job.
I don't know any other kind.
The Western is, however, a mythical place, as Witchy puts it, one extraordinarily powerful, overdetermined facet of a much more complex array of regionally specific cultural productions. Many young people encounter the Western genre today through the computer game Red Dead Redemption 2, a simulation of the West at the end of its glory days, exploring a trove of Western tropes, from the gang of outlaws to gold miners to hunters and trappers, and stories of indigenous Americans. In the 21st century, the Western bears less and less resemblance to the historical American West, even when it's posed as realistic. And I argue that it has become a reproduction of a reproduction. An example of this kind of simulation is described in my recent peer-reviewed journal essay on the HBO TV series Westworld. Just as Jean Baudrillard imagines Disney World as a simulation, proving, in his view, that the whole of the United States is a theme park, so Westworld Season 1 simulates an amusement park themed on the Old West, rife with sexual violence, casual murder, violation, and torture, only to reveal the obscured nature of American life. The idea of the Western as a theme park, at least in its form as a thrilling and escapist myth, is a compelling one, which I will extend when looking at new Westerns, bearing in mind Baudrillard's point that Disneyland serves a specific purpose: to conceal the fact that the whole of real America is, in Baudrillard's words, presented as imaginary in order to make us believe that the rest is real. Baudrillard describes it as a deterrence machine, which is meant to be an infantile world in order to make us believe that the adults are elsewhere in the real world, to conceal that the real childishness is everywhere.
This is America.
Regardless of one's view of Baudrillard's equation about Disneyland, his comments take on a new resonance if applied to the Western, and especially given a particular view of the Western as a savage beginnings of a new civilized order in the United States. Undesirable perhaps, but necessary. What if the conventional Western served a purpose to distract from the reality that we are still living with the issues of the Wild West? If the structure of the traditional Western has been to shore up entrenched power relations, is it possible for the genre to break out of such confines and the values noted above, such as benevolent violence, individualism, and the call to civilize the land?
When the time comes, you gotta run and don't look back. This is over.